5 years ago, I built what I thought was the perfect raised bed garden space. I've done a lot of gardening since then and realized I've made some big mistakes. Today, I want to show you just what those mistakes are so you don't have to make them. Let's take a look. Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by. If you're new here, my name is Tanya, and today I'm sharing 5 mistakes I made when building my raised bed garden space. If you're planning a new garden space or simply looking to enhance your existing raised bed garden, I'll be sharing the mistakes I made so you can avoid the same frustration that I've had along the way. Mistake number 1 is the placement of my beds in proximity to this fence. This bed is placed maybe about 12 inches from the fence. Let me show you. So as you can see here, this is functional, but I really kind of have to scooch along this side, which makes harvesting from this area really challenging and difficult to get to. If I need to harvest beans or fix drip line, I kind of have to squat down and lean against the fence. So this is error number 1. I really should have placed these beds further away from the fence, allowing probably around 2 feet of walkway in between, just so I can access my beds. And mistake number 2, and one that has proven to be a very frustrating one, is that I don't have individual shutoff for my irrigation system to each bed. So actually there's only one shutoff, and that's at the first bed. So that means that if I water the first bed, I water all the beds. And during summertime and springtime, when the crops are kind of rotating and I don't have all my beds planted up, or I've just harvested something in July and haven't had a chance to fill the beds with a new crop, that gets a little challenging because that means that I'm watering a bed that's empty, which is a waste of water, a waste of money. So it's proven to be a pretty frustrating point, and I will have to ultimately redo my irrigation system and install a shutoff valve on each bed so that way I can control the water individually. The third mistake that I made, and that is probably going to cost me the most amount of money, is replacing these boards. These boards are made out of untreated pine and connected with kind of like these cinder blocks that I got at Home Depot. And at the time, they were very cost effective, but over time, they've now begun to wear down with the weather and the elements and just simply aren't holding up very well anymore. They're starting to break down. And in fact, in one area, the bed isn't even in alignment with the other side of the bed. So it's causing the soil to shift. Let me show you. You can see here the wood is starting to break down a little bit. The beds are starting to shift and angle, causing the soil to kind of become dislodged and settle. Here's a good example of the board that has shifted so low, it's no longer even aligned with the original bed. And I'm really regretting choosing this type of material and layout because it's just simply going to cost me a whole new project of replacing these beds. And I'd prefer to do it with like metal, which would be much more durable. But this is one mistake I made, which I would advise against if you're going to build a vegetable garden and want it to last for a long while. This is one mistake that is definitely going to cost me in terms of time, money, and labor, because ultimately I will have to replace every single one of these boards with something new, and that is quite an undertaking. So if you are in the market for raised beds or just looking to revamp your existing ones, I would discourage the use of this untreated pine. While it is wonderful, it's easy to put together relatively and is easily accessible, over time the wear and tear on these boards just simply doesn't hold up to the elements. So just something to think about if you are in the market for that. And along these same lines, the fourth mistake I made is simply not making the beds tall enough. This is a good example right here. This raised bed is only 8 inches tall. And if you're going to go through the trouble of building raised beds or want to revamp your existing ones, I'd really recommend at least 12 inches tall to give enough depth for larger root systems or root vegetables like carrots and other crops that really need that space and depth in the soil so that they can grow properly. And along those same lines, I don't actually think I maximize the space in my garden. There's a lot of space in between these garden beds that I think could have been utilized a little differently, maybe even closer together to just really maximize the space that I have. So that's a lesson learned for me. And, you know, if you have the option to make the garden space bigger, or if you're designing new garden beds, just place them close enough together. Anywhere right around 2 to 3 feet should be sufficient. But this, like, for example, This is like 10 feet right here, and I can easily fit another garden bed in this space if I wanted to. Thanks so much for watching. I hope these tips helped you avoid the same mistakes. If you have made any gardening blunders or have tips of your own, drop in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.